Hi, my name's Justin, and you're listening to another episode of Laser Focus. And we just watched Della Morte Della More, and also known as Cemetery Man, and Stage Fright. We have a pretty big group here that just watched the movie and is going to talk about it. I'm going to go around, everyone can introduce themselves.
Jay.
Peter.
Trevor.
Keenan.
Pierce.
Matthew.
Nate.
I think that Peter wins the award for the most enthusiastic calling of his name. Big smile, very loud. Amazing, Peter. And so Trevor's the one who presented the films tonight, so can you give us a little bit of context of Della Morte Della More, Cemetery Man? Let's just call it Cemetery Man. It's easy. We're going to be saying the names wrong during this entire podcast, so, please be wary of that. All right, so can you give us some context of Cemetery Man?
Cemetery Man is a 1994 Italian horror. I guess it's horror. They're zombies, but it's a film about Rupert Everett plays a caretaker of a small town cemetery. He lives there, and every 7 days the dead rise, and he just nonchalantly puts a bullet in their heads and buries them again with his mute caretaker Nagi. And he kind of explores the existential problems of life and through many misadventures.
Yeah, the film is pretty plotless as far as it goes along. It's kind of very episodic, and
you kind of enter, you start watching for the zombies, but then you just kind of want to see where this caretaker is going. Because it's just kind of his weird life that happens to have some zombies in it. And it's really comical and strange and surreal, and it's a good time.
please watch it before listening to this, because we're going to go into spoiler territory like we always do.
Always spoilers.
And some people here hadn't seen it before. Raise your hands, because I don't remember who it was. Pierce and Mathew. Pierce, what did you think? Make it snappy.
Good.
Wow.
You said snappy.
Matthew.
It was all right.
Oh, just all right.
Matthew had issues with the film, specifically one line, which we could get into.
Yeah, but okay. So first off, for the people that have liked it before, Peter, what did you think of the film when you originally saw it?
Well, I was told to see it because I was a big Terry Gilliam fan, and it's very Gilliam-y. It's like a Gilliam horror movie.
Yeah, because the director, Michele Soavi. Michele
Soavi.
Actually was a second unit director.
Michelle or something like
No,
that?
it's totally Michele.
Looks all right.
Yeah.
And the director was actually a second unit on Adventures of Baron Munchausen and Brothers Grimm.
Tenebrae and all these awesome Italian horror films,
And you can actually see that, like, the Grim Reaper shows up, and it looks like that the director just stole it off the set of The Adventures of Baron Munchausen when everyone's back was turned.
Just drove his van up at 4 a.m.
Open the doors, and he's like, hurry! It was like Ed Wood. Yeah. So sorry to cut you off there, Pete. But
No, I agree that I kind of like the plotless aspect of the film, the episodic nature. It really does feel like European art house trapped in a genre picture.
one of the favorite things I like about the film is that the mythology is already there, and he's already been doing it for a long time. Yeah. So everything that's happening in the film is just even weirder than what his normal life is. Jay, you're a horror expert. Would you consider this one of your favorite films of all time?
Expert. Wow, that's flattering.
You have a website. You write reviews. Hey, do you want to pimp your site? Go ahead.
Oh, thehorrorsection.com.
Oh, there you go. We have a star here today. What do you think of Cemetery Man?
Oh, it's great. I mean, you look at it, looks fantastic, and I mean, Michele Soavi is really.
Michele.
Where did you get that from?
Wikipedia.
Unless he actually pronounces that name.
It says pronounced Michele.
Yeah, but someone could just go and fucking add that in.
Somebody could totally just be
Go on Wikipedia and change it like Michelle.
Unless I hear him actually pronounce his name that way, it's Michelle.
I just think it's really funny to say Michele.
How about you, Keenan? You had seen it before.
The last time I saw it, I think I was about 12 years old, and I was really confused back then.
And you came in with 30 minutes left of the film.
No, I watched it yesterday.
Okay.
So, I have to keep myself updated. I really liked it. It doesn't, I don't think it's really a horror movie. I think it just has the elements of a horror movie, but it's really an art house, existentialist. What is life? What is death? And the in-between. So.
I was actually pointing out, let's just go right into the plot, that... Is it all in Rupert Everett's character's mind, or is some of it happening?
Is this movie just Italian Psycho?
Yeah, because I was actually talking with Trevor earlier, but so let's say we assume that the zombies do come to life. But when he kills the girl that he falls in love with the first time, and he's waiting for her to come back to life so he can shoot her, he actually falls asleep, and there's like a dissolve, like a fade dissolve, before she wakes up. And I'm like, maybe that was a dream. And when everything really starts to get crazy, other than the zombies, it's after he's been bitten.
Yeah, I like that theory quite a bit because it makes sense. Like everything that really kind of goes like really crazy, it's after he's been bitten.
Yeah.
And then they make a point of not really paying any attention to the bite at all, like in any way, shape, or form after that.
Because he gives a little bit of like noir voiceover, which he has during the entire film, and he's like, "Oh, the bite, it won't kill me."
Yeah.
Oh, do you have something to say, Pierce? You looked
Like this is like what anybody feels like when they're becoming a zombie. They see like the one of their dreams all over the place.
yeah,
and,
that's when it really starts to get.
Yeah.
Is Francesco going around like as a zombie biting people when he's shooting people in the head?
There's that weird that moment though before the love of his life wakes up the first time where it does the dream cliche.
That's what I
effect.
said.
Yeah.
The like fade.
I thought it was
honestly-
just like a technique to show that he was dozing off,
Yeah.
sort of. But I mean, it's definitely open to interpretation.
Yeah, but let's point out that these are like the worst doctors in the world because a doctor comes and he's like, "Oh, she died of fright," and then she's not dead.
It's actually really confusing because he says she died of fright while they were having sex. So did she die from the
already
sex or the fright
yeah.
or the
They had more
both?
sex after she got bitten.
Yeah, so he obviously like checked her pretty thoroughly to see all these things.
And then she's not dead
Dead,
at all.
yeah. She must be one of those. She took one of that Romeo and Juliet potion,
Yeah.
and that's why when she came back. Oh, one of the people is leaving to take a phone call. Matthew, you had a problem with one of the lines in the film. What did it happen to be?
I just don't think any film should necessarily have a part where a woman comes and goes, "Guess what? Great news! The mayor raped me," and I quite liked it. I mean, I didn't like the violence so much, but then once I got over that part, it was great. Then he raped me again. Pretty much that part was like, if I was the type of person to walk out of a
Didn't
film,
you-
I would totally have walked out at that point.
Didn't you actually walk in, sit down, and that line happen?
No, because he came in. He came in when the motorcycle comes out of the grave.
yeah, that's right. Okay.
Which
Like totally on side. Like a guy motorcycle flies out.
No, like
Rupert
actually,
Everett
when you
is
think-
amazing.
when you think about it, like the motorcycle does come out of the ground before he gets bitten because he gets bitten after.
and that's pretty fucking crazy.
Okay, the movie begins with zombies like getting up from the ground. Right there is.
But we're assuming that the zombies
Like,
is a
that's-
fact of life.
That's the reality is the zombies. Everything else is just
because his world completely starts to unravel.
Or he just falls asleep when he in front of the woman and just goes to sleep.
And it's all a dream. Like he wakes up at the
I
end.
kind of like to think that the entire movie is just like it lives in this really weird.
Yeah, you can see it that way.
universe.
And the entire movie is in a snow globe.
Yeah, which you see in the first scene with a snow globe that's on his desk.
So it's like all these parallel universes in each other. Like he has a snow globe with himself in it in his room.
I don't know, man.
Rupert Everett's all in a dog's imagination. If the dog wakes up, they'll cease to exist, man.
I like to say that.
The fact that we were pointing out that some of these subplots feel very sitcom-y.
Yeah, he's like, I will only love you if you are castrated.
Like-
so he goes to see like a doctor.
The horror movie version of Saint Elsewhere. It's just all in a child's snow globe.
Can we talk about Nagi, the pedophile?
Yo, who knows? Yeah, Nagi doesn't know any better.
I guess so. It's still pretty
the Michael
fucking
Jackson
creepy when he's kissing the severed head of an underage girl.
I didn't know she's underage. She could be.
Yeah, which part of that is creepy?
Yeah. He's not, if he just had like her lower half in his television, I think that would
God, that's a dark nightmare.
There's a crazy shot in the movie from the point of view of inside her jaws.
Yeah, it's like,
as this like flying head flies across the room to bite someone's neck, and that's like how I like introduce this movie to someone. I said, "This is one shot," and it's like in between the jaws.
be. Yeah, I get it. I'm sorry, Nate. Yeah, we just let you run out of steam there. You were like, have you seen the movie Jaws? It's like that.
But in a shot form.
But yeah, I don't know. Rupert Everett. What else was he in other than in the trailer that I show, which is my best friend's birthday?
He was in some Madonna movie, wasn't
The
he?
film adaptation.
I think he
Importance of Being Earnest.
Didn't he date Madonna for a while?
No, he's gay.
Isn't he in the
Oh, he's gay.
She turned him
Yeah,
gay.
in Spice Girls, Spice World. I think he might.
Because when the guy who made this, who wrote the novel, that's the adaptation of Cemetery Man, he did a comic before Dylan Dog, and the character was made to look like Rupert Everett. So Rupert Everett must have had some kind of fame beforehand.
Yeah, like I guess he was just obsessed with Rupert Everett.
There's a Dylan Dog comic book where Dylan Dog meets Stella Morte.
Does he?
Yeah, and they like have like a big
Oh,
conversation. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like, it's supposed to be like Dylan Dog, but it's also not just like Dylan Dog. It's like his twin.
Well, like,
But not
honestly,
really.
if you change the color of Rupert
Yeah.
Everett's shirt, it's a Dylan Dog movie.
Yeah, and
And,
like
like-
black shirt and the red.
Yeah, and made Nagi into Groucho Marx.
It would be Dylan Dog.
I think they should remake Cemetery Man with Brendan Ruth.
No, I don't at all.
They're gonna make an American version of Cemetery Man. And it's gonna be Brendan Fraser.
I'm joking.
And like bloated Brendan Fraser these days.
Well, they
For
were
Revengeance, Brendan Fraser.
they were gonna do an American remake.
Yeah, but Rupert Everett was gonna star in it, and it was gonna be directed by Michael Soavi.
Michele Soavi,
I don't
but
think it's Michele. I think it's Michele.
it's Michele sounding
Like the pizza.
I gotta go.
Okay, see you, Nate.
Wait, can I say like final words?
Yeah, go ahead.
When I first saw that movie, I brought it home and my dad thought it would be like a regular like just like old zombie movie, and like he likes that, but like he wasn't really in the mood. And when I put it on, we both just watched and we were like completely blown away. And it was like, I don't know.
It wasn't like the lady got
Special.
naked, and then he like started masturbating uncontrollably.
My dad, right in front of me.
He's like, I gotta show
lying on
you
the ground.
something you saw.
He's like, man,
Boom, I'm masturbating. But
like this movie's so much better than all those other ones you bring home.
I'm glad that you got off. All right, see you, Nate.
Also, Stage Fright. Stage Fright's awesome.
Okay, Stage Fright is
talk about
awesome.
Stage
Stage
Fright
Fright
in a
right after. But yeah, because Rupert Everett gives an amazing performance in this film. Like, he's so dedicated to it. It's a little bit difficult to imagine anybody else in the role.
oh yeah, like
Nicolas Cage.
It's all about that scene where they find the daughter with her head missing. And he's like,
Whoopsies! And yeah, it just he goes through like the hangdog expression. Like, if you drew him, you know that he would be like really thin and like gaunt, and that's how you imagine the character.
Adrian Brody.
Yeah, Adrian Brody. That's pretty much what it is.
might be alright.
But also, the film is pretty humorous, even though the existential like quandaries in it.
Well, it seems like making fun of those exchanges are meant to be kind of funny.
Yeah, well, it's always funny.
Yeah.
But I was thinking more of the zombie the Mad Magazine gag where like the photo changes on the tombstone as it goes along. It gets like angry or when the zombie bites a girl and I guess the American dubbers decided to dub in "That's life" or what was that what it was?
It's a living.
It's a living as he goes and bites.
That's life.
That's life. Yeah.
Oh God! But does anybody else have any thoughts on Cemetery Man before we move along?
Well, I just think it's the cinematography that really makes it go, takes it up above like most zombie films. Is what I think. It's just from the very first shot where it comes out of the skull
Yeah.
head.
Oh,
It's just like you're in for something like really special.
These are the stylistic that when people tell me that Dario Argento's a really stylish director, I'm like, yeah! And then I think the Cemetery Man, I'm like, that's stylish direction.
Yeah.
Argento's has maybe one or two set pieces in his films, and I think that's something that the director also imbues into the film is that he seems interested with every scene. There's a problem with Italian films when you feel that they're just a set piece and there's a lot of filler and like horrible and like Rupert Everett is dubbing his own voice, and it looks like they did some scenes in sync sound because the lip matching is really good. When you look at other Italian like horror zombie films, it's usually horrible. And they just got some dude off the street drinking whiskey out of a paper bag to be like, oh, watch out for the zombies.
They actually did that in The Beyond, where they paid hobos in booze to lay down at the end as naked bodies in the wasteland.
Yeah, I'm not sure who did the cinematography, but it's like really slick as far as that goes. If anybody has any other thoughts, we can move on to Stage Fright. Pierce?
Oh, I just
Good?
as a first viewing of Cemetery Man, like I really want to go back and rewatch it.
I think it's a movie that definitely lives up to repeat viewings.
I like what you said a little earlier about how it's like you're just stepping into this universe that's been going on for quite some time.
Yeah.
Like, and the director clearly has a whole mythology. I read in an interview, like, he actually has a whole untold story of why zombies are arising in this universe, and what's causing is actually the roots in the cemetery.
yeah,
the
'cause-
Mandragora roots. It's because and there's several parts of the zombie rises.
Yeah, they're always attached to the roots,
Yeah.
and that when they come up, like even in the first, one of the first zombies.
I picked that up when you see the husband waking up. There's a lot of emphasis on a root going into his body.
Yeah.
And again, all the zombies are half trees.
Or
He clearly knows
motorcycle
exactly what's going on with all the.
Yeah, as I said, it looks like the motorcycle. He got hit by a bus, but it looks like he crashed into like a gear factory.
Crashed into a mattress factory. All the springs.
Looks like him and the motorcycle went into a Cronenberg telepod.
The guy, when the Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5.
Oh yeah, where the guy turns into a motorcycle.
Yeah, it kind of looked like that. I don't know when that was made though. But as Trevor pointed out, this was like a dying breath of Italian horror
that was kind of it, right?
because it was made in the 90s, right?
94.
Yeah, there was nothing in
Nothing
the
after
90s
that.
going on after that.
Yeah.
Dario Argento made some shit that. Yeah.
That's all I gotta
How do you
say.
spell that?
Well, we usually spell it Stendhal syndrome and the Phantom of the Opera remake.
Don't even
And,
be started on Stendhal syndrome.
Oh God, Stendhal
He
syndrome.
made up for it in Giallo, guys. Did you all love that?
A giallo? I don't think I've ever heard anyone say it like that. Giallo?
Oh, you mean the movie that Adrian Brody's trying to kill Dario Argento over because he like released it without paying him any money?
The one where the one where Adrian Brody plays the evil like killer, even though there's no reason for it, with a hunchback and like a fake nose.
Yeah, and they anagrammed his name for the credits.
That's amazing.
So it's like, yeah, it's this guy playing it. No, it's just
All right, let's move on to Stage Fright, please. So give us some context on Stage Fright, Trevor.
Stage Fright is probably my favorite slasher movie. It's just like I don't think it has any fat really. Like there's a little bit introductory,
Yeah.
But compared to most slasher movies, they're just pretty fucking boring and not a lot happens. It's got a really cool killer. He's got a really iconic costume. It's like this big, goofy owl mask.
Yeah.
That actually, like, there's several shots in the film. It looks really intimidating.
Like when he presses up against the shower curtain.
That's amazing. That's so creepy. There's a shot where he, like, the mask presses up. You see the owl eyes through a shower curtain. But anyway, it's about a theater troupe who are working on a play, and it looks really terrible. It looks really awful.
It's like saxophone playing Marilyn Monroe.
It's like a Streets of Fire rock and roll jazz owl man opera.
Don't say anything bad about Streets of Fire.
Yeah, and the one of the actresses sprains her ankle, and she defies her stereotype of a leader of the play. I forget the name, but anyway, she goes to the closest hospital, and it's a mental institute. And
Hospital/mental asylum.
hospital/mental asylum, and
But the doctor's attracted to her, so
Yeah.
they
and
get...
a notorious killer, Irving Wallace, escapes and hitches a ride back to the theater in her car, and then sneaks into the kills a wardrobe mistress, I think, or whatever they call them. Sneaks into the theater. And
Wardrobe mistress.
whatever they call them. I don't.
Sassy.
And yeah, through a unfortunate, wacky turn of events, everyone gets locked in with the killer.
All right, Matthew, what did you think of this movie? You can't. Yeah, that doesn't translate to.
Let it be noted that Matthew made the arm shrugging.
That's
sign.
a resounding meh.
Do you enjoy slasher films, Matthew?
Before we saw it, we were trying to discuss what good slasher films were, and somebody went, "There's Halloween."
No, visiting hours. But he said visiting hours.
I would say like
not a slasher.
visiting hours, but yeah, it's not really. It's kind of a slasher movie, but it doesn't.
It's one location. There's a killer stalking people.
All right, we'll screen visiting hours. We
Anyway.
can argue about that at that time.
Halloween, My Bloody Valentine, maybe Stage Fright,
Christmas?
and Black Christmas.
Black
Christmas is super creepy. It's great.
All right, Jay, come on, help us out here. Horror.
With what?
Find.co.
slasher movies.
Oh, well, pretty much the ones that you... Yeah,
What's your website again? So every time I say your name, I can say J of
the horror section.
horror section, J of horrorsection.com. So we pretty much name them all because there's a lot of slasher films.
There's so many.
Has anyone ever seen Curtains, the Canadian one?
Oh, my dad worked on curtains. I have pillows at my house that were set pieces.
I was gonna say I thought of another.
Sorry.
I thought
All I remember from Curtains.
A set piece in a film. Look at this pillow.
You can watch and I can bring the pillow.
No, I mean like they were a set piece.
Like that was it.
Oh yeah, that was the whole movie.
Yeah, this motorcycle explosion. No. Just a pillow.
Hey guys, I got the curtains from Curtains. Yeah. I was gonna say I wanted to add.
Citizen Kane.
I wanted to add a new not a new slasher movie, but one that should definitely be on that list of amazing slasher films. It's Jeff Lieberman of Blue Sunshine and Squirm. He did Just Before Dawn,
Dawn, yeah.
which is a great.
But would that be considered a slasher film or a backwoods killer film?
I feel that
If you're gonna get in front of visiting hours and be like, visiting hours is a slasher. Survivalist horror.
I would say backwoods slasher is still a subsection of the general slasher movie. Wood-centric slasher. Like The Burning or...
Rituals.
Rituals is great.
Yes.
But that's not... I don't like...
Oh,
I don't really
you're gonna
think-
give Just Before Dawn, but you're not
So
gonna
many semantics.
There are a lot of
Deliverance is a
semantics.
slasher now.
We're all intellectuals here. We have to discuss this.
I don't think Deliverance is a slasher movie, and I think that Rituals is closer to Deliverance than to Halloween.
Yeah, Rituals.
Yes.
So no one has seen Curtains.
I know there's a scene where a guy in a hag mask ice skates after a killer. with-
Pillows in it. There's pillows.
There's
Because I'll
scenes where the main thing in that scene is a pillow.
Because I watched a trailer for it. At one point, the killer kills someone on ice by skating up to them.
Yeah.
And like,
That's the
With
big
like a
scene,
sickle.
yeah.
It's
that's a big
great.
scene.
And there's a head found in a toilet. That part's great.
Would you say that like Prophecy is that a slasher movie?
No, there's a monster in that movie.
But he's killing people one by one in the woods.
So that's not a slasher. That's a monster film.
So I guess semantics.
No, that's a monster film. That's a creature feature.
Alright.
Alien slasher film, obviously.
I would argue that
But you're not gonna give it to visiting hours? What the hell?
it's just the tone. It doesn't feel like it's.
You do realize that anyone that wasn't here, like all two of them that are listening to this, one of them is probably Nate. is like, I know all these slashers I could have mentioned.
Yeah. Fuck. God damn it. But anyway,
So yeah.
The
Stage
point
fright.
is, the only good slasher film is Halloween.
And Black Christmas.
Yeah.
Black Christmas.
Black Christmas is great.
Yeah.
Black Christmas is one of the like 2 or 3 movies that still legitimately scares me.
Really?
Yeah.
What are the other ones?
There's this Brit. Yeah. Jesus.
Shining is obviously a slasher film because Jack Nicholson is going around trying to
He
kill.
kills one guy.
He's just making fun.
Jesus. Anyway, the other one probably be this. There's this BBC TV
Jeez, we're still on it.
called Ghost Watch. That's
Ghost Watch, really nice.
So creepy, so scary. But anyway,
You watch it the second time though, it kind of doesn't hold up.
Still
once
scares
you know. Really.
yeah, I don't know why.
Pipes is very creepy. I'll give you that.
See Ghost Watch. Anyway,
Stage fright.
Stage Fright. So they're trapped in the
I think we went over the plot. We know the
we
plot.
know the plot.
Yeah.
It was
There's
all
a
it's all
fucking
stemmed from the
bird.
fact that-
There's a bird mask and
And
then
Matthew wanted to point out there really aren't that many good slasher movies.
they're not.
Yeah.
And this is
I feel like
Among-
this-
Yet there's so many of them, so we would assume that.
there's got to be some better ones, but there's not. There's like
No,
5.
I think the problem is that you really don't care
Oh, what about
that
Friday
these
13th?
characters die.
Nah, that one's okay. It's more famous for.
You know, I
I'm
think
the
it's
wrong
interesting.
person to ask,
I think it's
'cause-
interesting that you have you guys really didn't like Your Next because the movie had unlikable characters. These guys didn't like it though.
And I'm like, loved Your Next more. Your
Really?
Next.
Wait, this is a discussion for. Yeah.
This is a whole can.
Yeah.
I know it's interesting
Because-
because the characters you were saying, oh, the characters are unlikable. I'm like, all slasher movie characters are usually pretty damn unlikable.
But they're funny and unlikable. That's the whole point. Like, you enjoy watching them being awful. It's so good. I saw that in the theater, right? And
We're talking about Your Next here.
Went woo at points, like which I never do. I actually got so excited watching it.
See, I was
made
kind of
noises.
hoping for that, and it's not like I hated it because I really didn't. I actually quite liked it.
Yeah, you liked it.
But and then
didn't.
I think a big part of it was I feel bad, but I think a big part of it was I left, and literally everyone was like, "That was the best horror movie in the last 30 years. This is."
Yeah, I think that was probably one of the best films I saw all year.
You're lying.
Genuinely one of the best films I saw all year.
Really?
Genuinely.
I don't know.
I do not want to stir up any controversy. I liked Your Next. Put that on the poster, kids.
I liked it, but I don't feel like it was a revolution. in the horror
barely a
genre.
slasher. Yeah.
I think it actually sort of
Stage
is,
fright. Stage fright.
because the female protagonist of
She kills some people.
it's not that she kills some people, I guess. It's that she managed to do it without ever losing femininity. She's still always like female, and she's never terrified. Like she's like a hard ass, but not in that sort of like Kill Bill kind of.
Still
hard
talking
ass.
about Your Next.
She's still.
But I just brought it up because let's talk about the fact that when Matthew, your problem with this movie, I'm going to potentially assume is that I really don't give a shit about what's going
couldn't
on.
give a less of a shit.
Yeah, And that is a problem with slasher movies. Sometimes you're just like, fuck it, I don't care I don't care for these characters. I think one of the reasons Halloween is successful is because you like Jamie Lee Curtis. She's actually a really likable character, and Carpenter does a good job making. And it's the same with Black Christmas. You like those characters, and you're really surprised when certain characters die in Black Christmas.
I can't say that I like the characters in Stage Fright.
You didn't like the girl that run out.
For me, the reason why I like this movie more than, say, compared to Your Next, like, the characters in both films are similar, but Justin's just
Shaking my head, yeah. I enjoyed Your Next.
But no,
whole podcast just about Your Next.
we already have done a whole podcast about Your
yeah.
Next. But no, the thing I want to bring up, the reason why I like this and other slashers is, with slashers, you usually don't care about the characters, but for me, what keeps me going with the slasher is the style that's brought into it. Slashers, they seem to be a vehicle that, they're films that are made for the director to show their stylistic flares. This film, it has tons of style, it has tons of great set pieces. It keeps you visually interested with what's happening.
Moving. Yeah.
Now, I'd argue though that this film is actually an exception. Most slasher films are pretty freaking inert.
Oh, they are.
Like
They
they're
are.
pretty unstylish as a genre because it's the exceptions and usually they're the better ones. And
It's
Stage
probably
Fright-
because this is such an exception that it stands out as something notable.
I would say that I'm always a likable person kind of guy where I'm like, the characters weren't likable. I didn't like it. Yeah. But then I'm also like a huge action movie guy. And usually when in action films, you don't go towards like the characters aren't always the strongest part in the scenes. And what happens is with those kind of sequences, the same thing with slashers, is it becomes like a base emotion that you are rooting for one person. So it's better in slasher films when characters have less characterization than you just hating them. Yeah. And something in Stage Fright is the characters, while you don't get really to know much about them, is that they're reacting in a way that's not completely stupid.
They do react and do like pretty much most of the things anyway that I would probably do in that situation.
Other than like screaming and shitting in the corner.
Yeah,
Which
probably just scream and shit in the corner. But like, they try, they at least make a try to stay in one room and hold themselves up. They go for weapons. They go, and
Matthew's laughing in the corner.
I'm just thinking of the part where Sting jumps down the hole.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Let's set this up for people that don't remember this part so much. So they chase after the killer and they go up to the like attic room for some reason. Yeah. Then the killer in the attic room somehow like reaches up and grabs a lady and pulls her down and cuts her in half.
Into this basically they go into the attic and below the attic is another room.
a cement bunker filled with water.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like an aqueduct. That's
you know what
catching all this water.
You know what happened? They shot it and they're like, "Oh, we'll shoot this later." And then we're like, "We don't have a set for this." Like,
honestly, there's if you go to the Bloor Cinema, there is like an attic at the far side, and there is it's basically they've gone into the attic, and the part right below is probably the area above the stage where all the flats drop and stuff.
So what happens to the Joel McHale Sting character, Matthew, when he makes it up to the attic?
He just sort of lands. It just has a black background. He stands there for a second, and then an owl runs on screen with a chainsaw.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's an amazing.
No, it's fantastic. It's probably the peak. Like,
fuck, did he get a chainsaw?
But I mean, it's like you said. I think that you were like, I need to see an animated GIF of that. Yeah. But in terms of like this film, if somebody said watch this hilarious animated GIF, it was Sting dropping into a black background, then immediately being chased by an owl with a chainsaw. Yeah. I'd have been like, brilliant. I did not spend an hour and a half on that. It was so good.
Yeah.
But then he loved Your Next. Which I also love.
I actually cannot wait till we stop the tape and just talk about Your Next for another hour.
Don't you know that it like deconstructed the slasher film?
Fuck off. That's not what's good about it. Don't be a...
Like, okay, let's not talk about this because there's literally an hour podcast that where I'm going to post this. You can just scroll down and it's right there, and me and like 7 other people are talking about it. Yeah. So back to Stage Fright.
Those people aren't me.
No. Well, for everyone, we're all going to sit around and talk about it when it comes out on DVD, which is going to be like in 2012.
I think what we're pointing out with Stage Fright is that why it works for some of us here is because of its stylistic excess, and it has fun and it has momentum. There's a really good sense of momentum. There really isn't any downtime once the kills start coming, and I mean, I think it's you can capture the momentum of that film in that shot of her running to the door holding the key out. This movie is just moving in one trajectory, and then when it hits a wall, it turns around, goes in the other direction. Like it moves, and so I think that's why it works as a good slasher film. I totally agree, though. It's not like none of the characters are super likable or that personable.
I really like the cop played by the director who loved James
cops,
Dean.
The cops are fun characters, and it might have been more interesting for them to have been included more in the
interaction.
Like they show up, like what's going on? Oh! And then they fall over.
Yeah.
Jay, any thoughts?
A gag your next
Well-
did.
Right. For the record, I loved you next.
Yeah.
But it was my Halloween costume. But yeah, I mean, same with Delamore. It's just the visual flair that takes it up a notch. And as to, if there not being any good slashers out there, it's kind of, I'm the wrong person to ask because they're sort of my bread and butter. So I pretty much like,
Even
I
the
like
shit-
them.
Really?
yeah,
Even when
the
we
shitty
asked you what
ones,
the
I
good
like them by
slashers
design.
are, you're like,
by design, I like them. So there are very few that I don't get
You
something
don't
out
feel
of.
that a lot of them are pretty dull, though?
Not at all, really. Yeah, like the badness is.
Jay's
actually
like, kill the bitch, kill her.
Justin pointed out, Justin is an action film junkie, and so action fans often be like, yeah, these films suck, but there's something comfortable
yeah.
about certain action movies where they're just kind of going through the motions. You kind of enjoy how
You know
scenes
what
are
you're
set
getting,
up.
right?
With some of these like subsections of genre films, they have very specific rules, and that's comforting because you know what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
And it's like to see those fulfilled in different ways within a basic framework. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
I guess it's because they're movies you can put on. Well, at least for me, I can put on and only kind of half pay attention to. I'll pick something that's
Waiting
less
for that animated GIF to show up.
something less traditional that I'll really sit down and I'll watch. And
Like Showgirls.
like Showgirls. So many devoted watches to that movie.
It really seems the thing with the Italian horror genre though is that they're, I would say Del Morte is a lot better than most because really most of them are
terrible.
stylistic flair, and that's really all there is. Like even Fulci stuff, which is like full of like really really impressive style, but like everything else is pretty.
I'm not even gonna like. I'm not. Oh, Jay's giving me a dirty look. He's like, "Are you gonna ditch it?" Like,
I don't care.
Yeah, like I still.
I don't think
wickedly
anyone's gonna argue that Fulci was like big on character, story, plot,
logic.
logic,
Logic's a big one. Yeah.
most anything besides insane gore and suspense.
And it's those kind of movies. You sit down and try to analyze them. As I don't know if you mentioned this on a previous podcast, but Trevor calls me the movie killer. 'Cause when me and him sit down to watch films that he loves, he like realizes that they're
It's happened twice, 3 times.
3 times: Zombie, Phenomena, and I think there was
Deep
one
Red,
Deep Red.
kind of.
Oh, Deep Red's great. You can't kill Deep Red.
Yeah.
No,
It didn't
oh.
kill it. It wounded it. It was wounded.
mortal
slightly.
wound.
Yeah. It wasn't even mortal. It just took it down a notch.
Yeah,
when I saw
yeah,
it again.
yeah.
It wasn't.
He just
good.
looks at me, and
Yeah.
he just looks at me. I'm like staring at him. He's like, oh, he's like, I'm getting weaker.
I thought I had this recollection of Phenomena, Dario
color you
Argento's
watching about
Phenomena. We saw it at the Vagrancy screening with a double bill with Demons. But that
Demons is great. I love
Demons is
Demons.
amazing.
So
Yeah,
he
yeah,
shows up in that one too.
What? Yeah. So
That's like one of his bigger roles, actually, isn't it?
He's the guy handing out flyers.
And then he shows
masks,
up at
right?
the end and gets a girder rebar through his
He has a
eyeball.
big-
He shows up on the roof for no reason.
Yeah.
He has a big role in Demons 5.
Really?
Which hasn't been released in the States, which
Is
is
he
pretty
the same character with the mask? That'd be awesome.
It's you know how the Demon series went, where it was like Demons 1 and 2 were related. The Demons 3 was like
The ogre?
I
no,
thought the church was demon.
no Demons. Yeah, it was a Michel Suavi film. Was the Church,
Yeah.
which is not that good.
Is that supposed to be Demons 3?
Ogre's 4.
No,
Yeah.
there's 2 Demons 4 or Demons 5. It's like the ogre, Black Demons,
Wow, it's like the Final Fantasy of.
and then Demons 5 is the remake of Lamberto Bava, who directed the first Demons, remakes his father's Black Sunday. Is that the one with where she gets the mask on her face?
That's Black Sunday, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. I was confused with them Black
They
Sabbath.
anyway, so it's a remake of that, and Michel Suavi has a main role in it.
Oh, man. That's complicated.
Yeah, just to get to that point.
It's like the Fulci zombie debacle, where it's like a skit where like Zombie was released and Zombie 2, so Zombie 3 is Zombie 2, and Zombie 4 is Zombie 3.
Abbott and
and
Costello go to the movies.
I want to see Zombie.
Zombie
Zombie 2. Zombie 2.
What are they
Wait, do you want to see Zombie 2 or do you want to see Zombie 2?
So, would you consider these films as an example of like the Italian genre, like exploitation? Because I wouldn't even touch it. Because I can't even name one thing that Del Morte reminds me of Italian horror films.
No.
And the same thing with Stage Fright, because Stage Fright falls into the slasher category,
Yeah, that-
which Italy didn't really touch that much
Del
until.
Morte Dell'Amore is like an Italian surreal comedy.
Yeah.
And Stage Fright is just like a really good Italian version of an American slasher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say
that's good, yeah.
I'd say
That's a
the
good way to
zombies
describe
though
it.
in Delamore definitely feel like the Italian style of zombies at times.
Yeah.
Just the way the makeup is.
I
and
feel it's weird that they almost like start to. It actually plays into your theory you were talking about earlier, where they, as the movie goes on, they become more and more animate and they're talking more.
Yeah, they
in the
do
beginning,
talk.
they're just like blah, 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 blah. But then, as he's supposedly bitten and hallucinating, maybe he's seeing like zombies
Yeah.
It falls into that.
interacting.
And I do think that Stage Fright definitely. I think the image of
Wait.
the owl mask and
Yeah.
everything feels very giallo at times.
Oh yeah.
Like, and you know that you do it is more of a it's more operating in the slasher parameters.
Yeah.
But giallo is it there?
Yeah, because I always say it's it's an argument of semantics, but giallo is usually just pretty much a slasher, but more like a murder mystery.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much with a black oak killer, which it goes to a whole other thing that we could talk about some other time where we actually watch a giallo. But except for the zombie that bites the girl the first time talks.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was supposed to, because you don't see its lips move. It just kind of goes. That's like American dubbing decided, like, oh, we can add a joke here. Yeah, that's life.
That's a good way to end.
So, because I was just trying to think of films you would recommend to someone that liked this movie.
Oh geez, it's strange because
Delamore or Stage Fright?
Either. Let's go around the circle and we can. I'm gonna start. Jay, you want to think about it?
Yeah, I think about it.
Okay, I'm gonna go to. Oh God, Pierce.
My first time seeing either of these films, and you're asking me, what would you recommend that are like these?
Matthew, you're next.
You know what's weird? Cemetery Man made me think of not a film, but the Japanese manga Uzumaki. Just the sort of the nature of the town not being able to escape it, and just the fucked up stuff
Yeah.
that happens, basically. And I think the Uzumaki film blew, but
Oh fuck! What piece
that's
of
really
shit.
interesting because like I'm the biggest fan of that Uzumaki manga, and I can definitely see some correlation.
well, there we go. I
Yeah,
helped.
there you go. Keenan made a "Don't come to me" wave of his hand.
I can't think of anything at the moment that
Yeah.
I would compare with.
Baron Munchausen.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
Darren Munchausen.
I stole it from
You took mine, but so now
you can't name one Italian horror film that.
it's like that.
Well, or
Not really.
because like if someone saw this, it's like, oh, I want to see more stuff kind of like this.
Toby.
Honestly, there's some Fellini-isms going on.
I was gonna say
Toby,
that,
damn it!
but I didn't want to say because I'm not that familiar with Fellini. But that's the feeling I always kind of got.
Something that's not a horror movie.
Well,
Yeah.
Fellini did a horror short called Toby Damn It, which has moments in it. It's a darker palette, but
Yeah.
there's similar kind of surrealism.
It's like
sometimes.
Fellini and Gilliam did a zombie movie in Italy.
Yeah.
It's weird.
How about you, Pete? That's it. You just gave.
Well,
yours, I
that was
guess.
one, but I'm trying to think of one for stage
Fright.
Yeah.
Twitch of the Death Nerve, Bay of Blood.
Twitch of the Death Nerve would be, I guess, it's kind of.
It's a slasher, though.
It's nowhere near as fast paced, though.
No, it's not, but it's definitely stylish. Well, because Mario Bava, so he has his own thing going.
Yeah, maybe it would just be like you could just treat it as a gateway drug to like Inferno and
Yeah,
Suspiria.
yeah, yeah.
The good stuff, you know.
Yeah, Inferno kind of has that dreamy quality about it. and That. How about you, Jay?
Well, yeah, just perfect example. Or
Of horrorsection.com.
Perfect way to say it's a gateway drug. You know, there's like it gets you into the Bavas and maybe the
Fulcis
the
and
Fulcis,
It's kind
and
of like a really cool Italian sampler thing where it's just like all these weird influences.
Yeah.
They don't really, they're not supposed to go
It's kind
together,
of like
but they do.
it's kind of like when you hear you hear something. It's like a pure version, and you have to distill it as you go down the line to what has come before. Because the director is obviously a fan. He's worked with all these filmmakers, so he's taken all the best elements from all of their works and made his own picture about
Pastiche.
it. A pastiche.
Yeah.
but Blood and Black Lace probably. Be
Oh,
a
yeah, that's a
film I'd
great
say,
one.
Just
Still haven't seen
because
it.
it's great.
It's
got a
great,
really,
yeah.
like the reds just really pop out of the screen at you.
And it's definitely once again
One
it's
of
the Mario
one of the
Bava.
first like body count films for sure.
Yeah.
I did a preemptive movie killer strike against Inferno because I was gonna watch it with you, and
I watched it though. I sat down and watched it by
You
myself.
watched it after I watched it before you, though. I
It
think.
makes no sense that you can't kill that.
I
movie.
used to hate that movie, and now I love it. I don't know.
But you know why?
Changed, you
It's
know?
because it's the same thing. It's kind of the problem. I'm going on holy ground here. That I had with the Beyond, which I think I would like the Beyond if they threw all semblance of the plot out the window and it was just craziness
Well,
the
that's
entire way.
what-
And that's what Inferno is, because nothing fucking makes
That's
sense.
actually what Fulci had planned. Like, if you
Yeah.
read about it, Fulci had this grand idea where it was just going to be, like, the very basic story was going to be a woman moves into a haunted house, and that's it.
Yeah.
And everything else was just going to be kind of pure dream logic, Inferno style set pieces and nightmares, and
Yeah.
And then they're like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. You gotta add some more.
I like that Inferno literally has a scene where a character comes to another character and he's like, I know you've been searching me for so long, and the character's like, I don't even know who you are. And that's like literally what the audience thinks.
Yeah, pretty much.
The best thing about Inferno is the fact that you watch it and your brain can't process it, so you can watch it like 4 years later and you'll be like, I don't remember any of this
Yeah,
stuff.
there's
It's like
literally
watching it again for the first time.
Like there's a killer in Inferno who never really revealed, like...
I mean, I think it's well, I don't want to start trying to explain stuff in Inferno,
Yeah,
because there's no way to do it, but I just love the whole mythology behind those movies, and I really wish there was a better third movie. Like, did people here like Mother of Tears?
I actually liked it. Really? I've only seen it the once at TIFF, but I liked
I
it.
didn't like it.
I don't think most people like that.
Most people didn't like it.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Disappointed.
You know that one of the reasons that Inferno, which if I know we've been talking about it for a while, but it's a Dario Argento film, which was his sequel to Suspiria. Yes, to Suspiria.
yeah.
And that Dario Argento was very sick when he made that movie, and that he was on his back almost the entire time, could barely direct.
which Inferno or Suspiria?
Inferno.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons people...
Had him in a little Hannibal thing.
Like, every time there's a jump in plot, it's like where they had to run and talk to Dario.
talk to Dario.
And he was just like fever dreaming.
Does that have anything to do with the fact that Mario Bava was the one who supposedly did that sequence where the girl goes underwater at the beginning?
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
I can totally see that.
Yeah, Marr-Bava worked on that. Just for people who, just to give a taste of Inferno, there's a scene where a guy takes a bag of cats,
Yes.
and he goes and drowns them in a lake, and then suddenly rats start attacking him
like,
for
"Oh,
no
rats."
reason, and then there's a guy with like a hot dog stand that's over on the other side, and he's like, help me, and the guy who's like this fat character, you've never seen him before, walks over, the guy's like, oh, thank you, and then he just kills him and stabs him in the head.
And it takes like 5 minutes. You see him like sort of jogging over. He's like, oh, help me, they're biting my neck. And then he's just getting closer and closer. He's just like, stab.
It's like literally like the example of like a nightmare,
Yeah.
which is...
You know, I'd recommend Anguish.
Is Anguish the one with the eyeballs?
Yeah. But Anguish also has a kind of stylistic flair that kind of reminds me of Stage Fright at
I
times.
see that, yeah.
That's the one that is like, it's the movie within the movie within the movie.
I saw them in the theater, which was really cool, because movie in the movie in the movie.
Yeah.
Eyes of the city of mine or something.
I don't think Anguish is that fun though. Like a
Oh,
stylish.
it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
It is pretty
It's
fun.
a little dry for me, but
Yeah.
I did quite enjoy it when I saw it. Yeah.
Got Zelda Rubinstein in it, for God's sake.
Zelda Rubin in a buddy comedy with what's the fat guy in that? Because he's so recognizable.
Oh,
American.
yeah, the guy, he's
right,
in
yeah.
Blank Check.
That's right. He's the guy who gives the kid all the money.
And then steals his eyeballs.
Let's just talk about Blank Check for a while, man. How did that kid get all that money?
He used his Macintosh computer after he was almost run over by a bank robber.
Yeah, who gives him a blank check?
Gives him a blank check, and then he uses it to put in $1 million. And the bank manager was a corrupt bank manager and was keeping $1 million that was stolen by a guy named Juice.
Do we want to talk about the, do you think that ending to Stage Fright, was that just kind of like, I don't know what to do here?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Like-
right between the eyes.
There's this whole thing where she loses her watch in her final kerfuffle with the killer, and then she goes back.
That's set up pretty early.
Yeah.
It is
But let's mention that the killer falls off the balcony, thankfully catches himself on an electric wire, goes all the way to the bottom, and he's like 3 feet off the ground, and he could easily just drop himself.
They don't show it right away. Like,
No.
they kind of hide it, but you can tell he's like a foot.
Yeah, so he climbs up all the way to the top just to be cut and to fall. Well, he still lives.
He still lives, and then he gets lit on fire.
Because he's
He's
doused
wearing
the
a different mask.
gasoline. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's this whole thing where they go back for the watch, and I did really like the whole callback where she was remembering like how
That's
many.
probably the most yellow part of
That was
the,
totally giallo. That was well done.
part of the movie, I think.
Oh, yeah, where she's counting the bodies, and she's like, one.
Were they trying
two.
to set up a sequel where he's like an indestructible zombie now? Because
I think maybe the problem is she's counting the zombies. Did the cops not find that bird dude?
no, they just didn't find him. I guess.
Well, that's the thing that's weird. I just don't understand why no one mentioned that to her.
She didn't find the
By
bird
the
guy.
way, guy, the killer is still out there. We haven't caught him yet. Like they.
Or the police assume that they're like, so
We'll find him.
the killer, you chopped off his head and put it on the table, right? And stuffed his mouth full of feathers? That's the killer, right?
And I found it problematic that like she's been taken by the police like the next morning after this, and they're like, "Well, you check out. There you go. There's the door. See ya."
And she's like, I need my gold watch.
And then she goes right back. But beyond that, the police let this girl go without knowing where the killer is. And
They're like, you know what? Because they went, okay, so the first time someone got killed and they called us over,
Yeah.
and the killer came back. What are the chances of him coming back a third time?
And I mean, from the police's perspective, she was the one involved in the first death.
yeah.
So why would they not just think she's fucking killing everybody?
Yeah.
There's no reason to make it not look like that.
I like how we're debating the logic of the end of that film.
Yeah, I mean, then the
It was
kid.
fine up until the end. Then I was like, wait a minute.
Peter was all in the defensive during the film. We'd be like, wait a minute, what was it? Peter would be like, well, earlier in the film they established that.
Yeah, I didn't think the film was that illogical.
No, I don't think so.
I thought it was pretty laid out
The,
until
the
the killer.
dumbest decision she makes is to go back at the end.
to get her watch.
I would like to
She's
point
like,
out,
my father carried it in his ass.
I would like to point out though that apparently everyone else thought it'd be safe to go back because there's no police tape, there's no nothing. This is just a couple hours after, like all this. Like they haven't.
no
they
one's
haven't
guarding
even
all
wiped the
their
blood off
little-
the stage yet.
Exhibit A, Exhibit B signs.
It's confusing. They didn't go ABC. There was like a W.
The main lesson of the film really is if you want to know how to use a gun, ask a black man.
Right between the eyes. Oh, right between the eyes. I would have shot him right between the eyes.